Jim Caviezel's The Sound of Freedom has taken off at the box office, and I have a lot of updates about this movie. Let's get into it. Before I start today's video, I just want you to know that for whatever reason, my microphone settings had been reset at the time of recording this video for you today, but I did want to apologize for the minor issues with the microphone and the sound of my voice on this video, so I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Because God's children are not for sale.
What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for being here at Coach's Archives. I came out with my first Sound of Freedom video yesterday, and in the very young history of this channel, it's the most watched video to date, currently sitting at 2.3 thousand views. Thank you guys for watching that video. Thank you for watching this video, the follow-up, and thank you to everybody who subscribed to the channel and joined us here at Coach's Archives. I greatly appreciate it. Welcome. It's really nice to talk about box office surprises, and one of those surprises is a faith-based movie. It's really nice to talk about a movie that's good for the soul, and a lot of the media is calling Sound of Freedom a faith-based movie. We know that Jim Caviezel, the main actor, is a very devout Catholic and Christian, so it's just a good thing all around. And let's go ahead and get into all of the updates about this film for today. Well, first things first, and this is a recap from the news yesterday. Sound of Freedom has actually beaten Indiana Jones in an incredible box office coup. That's a great title there coming from Newsweek. So July the 4th, nobody saw it coming, and Sound of Freedom absolutely hammered Indiana Jones, the movie that most Hollywood experts and pundits believed was going to be the number one at the box office every day until something else legitimate comes out to beat it. Well, something did come out legitimate to beat it, and that was Sound of Freedom. And we have an update for the box office now. So day 2, we are probably the first channel reporting on this. So day 2, which would be July the 5th, that the numbers are in, Sound of Freedom has actually dropped to second behind Indiana Jones. But don't worry, you Sound of Freedom fans out there, it's a big win for everybody. The movie is doing a lot more money per theater than Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is doing. You could see here over at thenumbers.com, Indiana Jones grossed on July the 5th, $5.5 million. Sound of Freedom, $4 million. But Sound of Freedom is in nearly half the amount of movie theaters as Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, the total gross so far, and Indiana Jones has a week ahead. It has a week head start. $89 million so far, which, oh, by the way, makes Indiana Jones a box office flop. Like, it is not going well. The movie is going to lose a lot of money. Indiana Jones has to make over $800 million just to break even. And that is not a problem that Sound of Freedom has. It's already grossed $18 million. $20 million is definitely on the way, easy. In the next update, it's going to absolutely smoke that. Will probably be $25 million and beyond. And the movie actually seems to be gaining traction. I would not be shocked if it hit $30 million. Here's a couple things about the movie that you might not realize. It's only available in the United States right now. It can't be seen anywhere else. And the people in the UK and the media, they're clamoring for the movie. And it's coming. It's just not been announced when it will be released in the movie theaters or the cinema in the UK, but it is coming to our UK friends. Now, IndieWire released this. Sound of Freedom is cleaning up at the box office because you can buy tickets for strangers. That's one of the reasons that it's doing really, really well. That's definitely not the only reason. Do I think that this had any type of impact on its overall gross? Yeah, a little bit, but you know, the thing is, when you got a movie that touches you to the soul like this one, and you could pay it forward and buy movie tickets for other people and strangers, and especially people who can't necessarily afford to buy movie tickets right now, this makes it just an overall great thing. Like, this shows the goodness of humanity. It really does. This movie through and through, from the movie itself to the people actually attending, watching the movie. If you've seen this movie in the movie theater, good on you. So the article opens, the Jim Caviezel child trafficking drama Sound of Freedom from faith-based distributor Angel Studios made $14.2 million in a single day when it opened July the 4th. You can chalk that success up to any number of reasons. Religious audiences are underserved, which is true. The film has been bolstered by major right-wing pundits like Donald Trump, and it opened on a rare Tuesday after Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny had 5 days to quiet down. But the film's real godsend is the ability for Sound of Freedom fans to buy movie tickets for complete strangers. Angel Studios calls it Pay It Forward, in which you can buy a ticket for Sound of Freedom, pay for another one, and someone else can apply to redeem it if they don't have the financial means. A larger group of people buying tickets in bulk, such as for a company or a church, can even redeem a portion of their tickets for free. The distributor says of its $14.2 million haul, $2.6 million came from people overpaying through those Pay It Forward ticket sales. And again, guys, that just displays the goodness of mankind. That is great. Daily Mail over in the UK, they can't even watch the movie. They're also reporting this is a hit to Hollywood's gatekeeping model. Faith-based producers of Sound of Freedom laud conservative backers for the movie about one man's quest to save children from sex traffickers, and it beats Indiana Jones at the box office. Here's a couple things about the movie. The film was distributed by Angel Studios, a Utah-based company that specializes in faith-friendly content. DailyMail.com spoke to two of the Angel executives behind the successful release, which was in part crowdfunded by a group of studio loyalists, saying, "We're so excited about the box office success, but what the number actually represents is awareness," said Jordan Harmon, who co-founded Angel Studios along with his three brothers. The film is based on the true story of former government agent Tim Ballard, who quits his job working for the feds in order to skirt the bureaucracy that comes along with going overseas to rescue children from human traffickers. The studio had a goal of selling 2 million tickets in its opening week to represent the number of kidnapped children across the globe. On July 4th, Sound of Freedom brought in $14 million, while the newest Indiana Jones film earned only $11.5 million, according to the Post-Millennial. The film, also starring Mira Sorvino, is playing at 2,600 theaters across the country and has earned largely positive reviews, even from critics who are not fully on board with the studio's apparent cultural alignment. The movie currently holds an 88% fresh score from critics on Rotten Tomatoes and a 100% audience score. Let's assume that, like me, you're not a right-wing fundamentalist conspiracy theorist looking for a dark, faith-based suspense film to see over the holiday weekend, wrote Variety's Owen Gleiberman. Even then, you needn't hold extreme beliefs to experience Sound of Freedom as a compelling movie that shines an authentic light on one of the crucial criminal horrors of all time, one that Hollywood has mostly shied away from. So a couple more things about the movie. Sound of Freedom will be releasing in the UK, but we don't know when that's going to happen yet. So for all of our friends overseas, are you going to be able to watch this movie in the cinema? Yes, but we don't know the release date just yet. And what streaming service is this movie going to come to? After all, Disney did buy Fox, and this movie was a Fox-produced movie. But a streaming release date has yet to be announced, and the film will likely come to faith-based streaming platform Angel Studios eventually, and may even show up on another service later down the line. So the movie's great. It's got a great reception, audience score, it's through the roof, critic score through the roof. Everybody's lauding the movie. It's a great, great thing. How successful actually has the movie been so far? Let's look at that. Screen Rant gives us the information how much Sound of Freedom cost to make and what the movie has made at the box office thus far. After its filming ended in 2018, Sound of Freedom landed a distribution deal with 20th Century Fox. Unfortunately, after the Walt Disney Company acquired 20th Century Fox, Sound of Freedom ended up becoming one of the projects the studio shelved. With what followed, the film's producer, Eduardo Verastuggi, spent more than a year getting rights for the movie from Disney. Unfortunately, as soon as Disney released the rights for the film, the COVID pandemic held the film's crew back from releasing it in theaters. On the bright side, after Disney released The Sound of Freedom's rights, the producer took it to Angel Studios. The studio acquired worldwide rights to the movie and used equity crowdfunding to raise money for its marketing and distribution. According to the reports, Angel Studios garnered funds worth $5 million in just 2 weeks after 7,000 people invested in the project. Before Sound of Freedom acquired $5 million through crowdfunding, its overall budget was estimated to be $14.5 million. But in the world that we live in today, obviously everything can't be sunshine and rainbows, folks. Some people are attacking the movie, which doesn't surprise me at all. World of Real, in this article, says Sound of Freedom faith-based indie starring Jim Caviezel projected for an astonishing $20 million opening, but they're going to get into some of the negatives involved in the film for critics. Saying here, so why all the hate for this film? Maybe it has to do with the fact that Angel Studios primarily releases conservative content, which is more than a rarity in Hollywood. It's practically non-existent. The second is that Caviezel, very much like Mel Gibson, has become a marked man. Caviezel is very religious and very conservative. He's mentioned the need to fight child sex trafficking, Satan, and liberal values. He's very Christian. For example, in 2001, while shooting Angel Eyes, Caviezel requested that he wear a shirt and that his co-star Jennifer Lopez wear a top during a love scene just out of respect for his wife. And I think that's awesome. Caviezel's beliefs seem to have irked all the wrong people in Hollywood to the point where he's really only been starring in Christian-based films the last 10 years. Caviezel recently admitted in an interview that one of his good friends, Mel Gibson, wept while watching Sound of Freedom, saying, "I showed this movie to 2 Academy Award-winning film directors. Both of them were absolutely stunned. One of them is my good friend, Mel Gibson. The other one likes to remain anonymous. Mel was weeping." Caviezel went on to say, "In a fair world, Sound of Freedom would hands down win the Best Picture Oscar, but, like The Passion of the Christ, they won't touch this one." And the last thing that Jim Caviezel said really got me. He said, "The Oscars and the praise of men may never come your way, but don't forget, God has rewards that he'll hand out someday." Got to tell you guys, it is so refreshing to be able to report on something this genuine, this heartfelt, and this good. I absolutely love this news. So if you're watching this one and you watched my first video about this, thank you guys so much for all of your support here at this brand new little channel, Coach's Archives. We're just getting things cranked up. I really appreciate you guys being here. That's going to do it for us. I will see you guys on the next one. Go watch the movie. I know I am.